Okay, now we're going to talk about what do you do when you have media that's in a different color space than what you're used to. And actually, I should say color setting. So I'm going to open up a file from a client, from Warner Brothers, and you'll notice that this document gives me a mismatch warning. It's going to say, hey, they embedded it in Adobe RGB, but you want working file to be in color match. What do you do? For this moment, I'm going to leave their embedded profile, not mine, but theirs, and say okay. And then I want to run through some color setting changes to show you what's going to happen. Now, if I go under Edit to Color Settings, and then I go down here to Assign Profile, if I were to say, hey, you know what, let's see what it looks like under my setting, Color Match, look how the file changes. Now, please be very clear here. I'm actually not changing the file. I'm changing how the file looks on the monitor. So I actually haven't altered the numbers at all. However, you're going to make retouching decisions based on how it looks on your monitor. And where it really becomes a problem or a change is when you go to this function here and you convert the profile to CMYK. Because what happens is whatever setting you set here for your shift, like I tend to use working CMYK, US web coded swap, it's going to look at the numbers from the Adobe RGB and make its decision that way. This is a little complicated, so stay with me here. So I'm going to cancel that, and I'm going to show you what happens when we, rather than, stick with me here, rather than going Assign Profile and shifting to Color Match. See the change? I'm going to leave it here for just a second. I'm going to go ahead and leave this on Color Match so you can see the change. And now I'm going to open up that original again. But this time, I'm going to say, hey, can you convert it for me? Can you actually change the colors for me? Keep in mind, when I did Assign Profile, it did not change the file for me. I know this is a little tricky. Hang in there. So what you see here is this is Photoshop's attempt to change the numbers but keep them as close as humanly possible to what it was. Now I'm going to go back to the history palette and go here. This was when I went to Assign Profile, and then it converted it in Photoshop once it is open. The long and short of this is, if you have a profile you like to work in, as I do, what you should do is when you open a document, instead of leaving it where it was, i.e. the Adobe RGB color space, I want to convert it before I open it, right here in this dialog box. And then you'll see it looks as close as humanly possible to the original. If you have any questions, please email me. I know this is a little thick, but it's very, very, very important to get.